Hey there, Jingle Jammers. It's your boy, Flamin' Plumbus. Hopefully everyone's having a cool night. It is, last I checked, 30 degrees, so it's definitely chilly. And, tonight we're going to be doing something a little different, I think. Not something I've done before. But we're going to be telling some Christmas stories. And it should be cozy, nice and fun. We got Lindsay here hanging out as well. Whoop whoop.
Yeah, Fago.
And your Fago. Did you buy a bunch for a Fago at the Dollar Tree?
No, it's the same. Fago.
Whoop whoop, by the way. It's wicked warm out. What are you talking about? Gonna go to the Dunkies. Gonna walk there. Get myself a coffee. I disagree. But you know what? That's okay. Because part of what makes us Americans, tiki, or mayo on your face, is that we can disagree. I mean, I'll still drink iced coffee in this weather, but I'm going to complain about how cold it is the whole time still. Go walk to your donkeys then, Tyler. Exactly, Blue Bear. Welcome to you as well. Chainsaw. So they added the final Cyberpunk update today, huh? That's exciting. I like hearing those little updates about that game because, like I told you, I really want to get back into it. It seems like excellent. What have I been doing? I've been playing some Overwatch today. I kind of took the day off. Don't tell my boss. Just kidding. I already told my boss. Just kind of hung out, played Overwatch, spent too much money on Overwatch again. I really wish I had some cocoa and some peppermint schnapps for tonight's stream because it's gonna be cozy tonight, guys. And I cannot emphasize enough, you should go get you some cocoa. Tonight's the night for it. Oh, hey Google, turn on lava lamp. Google's ignoring me. You didn't even do it, Google. Hey Google.
It did.
There we go. It did. Oh, cool. You don't have money to go to Dunkies? What? Did you spend all your money on Overwatch? Because I did. But no, some cocoa with some peppermint schnapps would hit it right now. That would be it. But alas, we live in a desolate wasteland, void of schnapps. Or anything you could call schnapps. But yeah. I mean, you're not wrong, Blue Bear. Overwatch is a little more important. You have to wait for bills to be paid. Oh, I'm cheeky. I'm an adult. I have bills. That's what you sound like. Just kidding. You're probably a little cooler than that. That's your OnlyFans.
I don't have an OnlyFans.
I know. Lindsay doesn't have an OnlyFans.
No. Fuck no. I know people with OnlyFans. I have friends who have OnlyFans.
Same. I have many friends who have OnlyFans. Look at this adult over here. Get some disposable income. Yeah, for real. Grow up. Just kidding. Listen, at this point, you should either have children or disposable income, Tiki. No, I'm just kidding again. Imagine if I was that big of a dick. Probably wouldn't come hang out in my stream. What is this flashing that is happening on my screen? I want to stop. Disability cakes. Woo! Also, look at this nice. Ooh, isn't that nice? Oh, yeah. That fire jazzy, yo. There you go. It's a fire. It is a fire, you're right. That's what I said, Tiki. God, you were off it tonight, huh? We're just waiting for friends. Our little, Jingle Jammers. We're gonna join us for a little Jingle Jamboree. Ah, yes, the old Pinkerton education. I have several friends who went there. None of them liked it. Why does my thing still say I'm playing Make Way? I'm not.
Because you didn't click update.
I did! I updated it.
Hi, Flaming Columbus.
Hi!
What's going on? Oh god, I didn't want that. Enjoy my messy... Oh, this isn't the bad one, but let me turn off that display caption. Now let me get my cozy little, videos. Should
Just...
we light a fireplace? Or maybe another different fireplace? There are a few fireplaces here. This one, that one seems a little close.
Then get you some Jack Daniels and hot cocoa, Tiki. Do it.
I kind of like... Let's hang out by this fireplace for now.
Oh, we're turning the fireplaces on.
Yeah. Do you have a fireplace graphic?
No, I'm just using, the Yule log stream from YouTube.
Oh, fair enough. I actually went and downloaded some stock footage of fireplaces.
Oh. Fancy.
You know what? I've decided I don't like that fireplace because that cutback is way too jarring. I don't have
You could use the Yule log on YouTube and then just, green screen yourself into the middle of it.
No, I like this one. I think this one's cute. It's got a little gingerbread man next to it and a little snowman.
They're burning!
Yeah. But I think this is I think this is a fun little cozy little scene to hang out in tonight.
None of the updates that I put for my actual go live actually took. I don't know why. I'm just realizing it all now.
That's unfortunate. Columbus is live playing. Make way. Someone's gonna be disappointed.
I know. I just lose all my viewers. I'm at like 7 right now. They just all leave.
No, we're not doing this. We're not sticking around for this.
I thought
Oh,
we were
right,
playing
so-
Make Way.
So we have "'Twas the Night Before Christmas." We have "Elves and the Shoemaker," which is a Brothers Grimm Christmas story.
Ooh.
Why is it opening up there? Oh God, hold on. Now I have a problem. That. Then we have what's this one? "Gift of the Magi," which is another Christmas story. And then we have Charles Dickens' Christmas story called "A Christmas Tree" by Charles Dickens.
Is that a Christmas story?
Not a Christmas Carol, because that's very long. These are all relatively short stories. I mean, the Dickens one is 18 pages, but
Fair.
yeah, well, we couldn't make it simple. So I think we're gonna start with "The Night Before Christmas," but we gotta wait for Hybrid to get in here anyway.
Yeah. Blueberry, it is a Christmas special with Plumbus. You're correct. That's exactly what this is.
A Plumbus Christmas special, yes.
Plumbus all the way.
And it's for Jingle Jam.
It is. Hey,
You got the jingle.
Jingle Jam. Tell us about Jingle Jam.
So Jingle Jam is a charity event. We're raising money for 12 different charities this year. They're all great charities. I can actually read you the charities if you like. Charities that we are raising money for this year are Autistica, Campaign Against Living Miserably Calm, Comic Relief, Coppafield, Gallup, Movember, Hello World, Just Dig It, Royal National Institute of Blind People, War Child, the Grand Appeal, Wallace and Gromit's Grand Appeal, and the Whale and Dolphin Conservation. Which, I mean, all of those are great causes. And if you're in my chat, you can do !point charities to check those out. And the cool thing about Jingle Jam is that we have a games collection for you. And if you donate 35 pounds, or like $44 and some change, which, by the way, interesting thing, Tiltify will go ahead and do the conversion for you so you don't have to pay your bank a fee, which is awesome. But if you donate 35 pounds or $44 and some change, you get like 70 plus games.
Yeah.
It's like over $1,200 worth of games.
Yes. And there are some solid games in there, too.
Well, there's even a AAA game this year.
Which one?
Godfall.
Okay, hold on. I don't know if we want to call Godfall AAA.
Well, I mean, it's a AAA studio.
Okay, that's yeah.
Also, you can spin the Fanatical wheel. You get a code to spin the Fanatical wheel. You get AAA games out of there. I got Sifu,
Ooh, fun.
which is funny because the deluxe cosmetic pack for Sifu.
I know, that's such a good coincidence.
Well, really, what I got was a 99% off code, and I paid 49 cents for Sifu.
Okay. Well, that's worth
But I
it.
mean, I don't even think 49 cents is money at this point. Like,
No, that's...
in this case, to get the hi Ronnie, you're not new here, but you're new here. Welcome. But to get a game for 49 cents, that's normally $49.99 or whatever it is.
Hi guys.
Hi.
Hey!
I'm not.
How are we
I'm not
doing?
upset at that. We are doing great. What are you doing? How are you?
I am a banana.
I am a banana.
My spoon's
I'm
too
good,
big.
man. I'm good.
I don't know. That just had Wicked Ed vibes.
It's one of those. Do you remember those little like viral shorts where it was like,
Yes.
Ow! It's Tuesday. Did you remember to bring your raincoat?
I'm feeling fat and sassy.
My spoon is too big. My spoon is too big.
Spoons.
Oh, that's something different. I always found that creepy.
It is creepy. That's the point. Salad finger. Like you're going with like, it's Desmond the Moon Bear.
I don't know.
You don't know ASDF movie?
No,
Nope.
Oh my gosh.
I'm old. and out of touch.
What flavor is it? Pie flavored.
How did I get here? Yeah, Raven. How did I get here? I'm assuming that's something from the thing you mentioned.
Yeah, that's what Desmond the Moon Bear says.
Okay.
It's just and then they cut back to him later, and obviously
That's a really
they
cute
are on
cat
the moon
emote.
with no, spacesuit doesn't fare very well. So Desmond is floating and just still and dead.
Yeah, I'm not familiar.
Oh, you should watch them. There's like 10 of them now.
It's
like
but
a
yeah,
couple
no,
hours
I was, doing the usual, talking about the charity, talking about the talking about the charity event, talking about the charities, talking about the game collection, talking about our milestones, talking about the fact that we had just hit another milestone and are currently at 440 pounds raised.
Woo!
And I may or may not have been talking about how it is currently your affiliate anniversary.
That is true. It's my affiliate anniversary. But, thank you. Thank you for
Yes.
for it's not like Twitch reminded you.
I
didn't know. I didn't know until I opened up OBS and the Twitch chat window was like, "It's your affiliate anniversary. Say hi." No. Sure.
Oh, it's my affiliate anniversary? I had no idea.
Like, it was like third person. It was like celebrate Free the Squirrel, and then it had the option to send the happy anniversary thing, and I was like, I don't want to send it in my
Yeah, tell yourself happy anniversary in your own chat.
I mean, if you scroll back far enough, I really clicked it.
Oh, that's how I knew. That's how I found out. I saw that you had posted it in your chat, and I was like, oh. So I refreshed the page, and it was like, celebrate Free the Squirrel's affiliate anniversary. I'm like, okay, spam.
Yeah, hooray. Sure. But anyway, what are we doing tonight?
We are reading Christmas stories.
Correct. And we actually were talking about what we were going to read, so I think we're going to start with 'Twas the Night Before Christmas.
Okay.
Nice and easy. And then we can go to the Elves and the Shoemaker.
And the Schumacher?
Sure.
The Joel Schumacher?
Yeah. And then I don't know which one we want to go to after that, because then we have the two long ones. The Gift of Magi, which is
6 pages.
6 pages. And then
The other one.
Another one, which is a Christmas Tree.
Christmas Tree.
By Charles Dickens.
Dickens
Not a
and
Christmas
Charles.
Carol, but, same author.
Considering the Christmas Carol is like 40 pages.
It's like a
Yeah,
novella.
This one's 18.
It's like a book.
It's it's like it's a book or something. But this one's 18 pages. It's a little bit shorter, a little bit. It's not quite the full story, but whoa, hold on.
Everything okay?
Sorry, I thought I just saw something problematic in it.
In what? The Christmas tree?
Yeah.
I mean, I would not be surprised. It probably is.
Okay, well
We'll address it when we get there. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. Bridge.
So any problematic themes in a Charles Dickens work, we do not support or endorse any of that. We're just here reading the Christmas stories that we are allowed to read.
Any problematic anythings in anything we're reading.
Yeah,
we will do our best to censor and circumvent.
yeah, it's like a whole page of story. It's fine.
Oh, it is.
Oh.
Well, I saw one word and then I started reading, and there's just a whole bunch of references in there that I'm not 100% sure about. But I don't
What
know
page?
the context of any of it. I don't know. I still don't.
Okay.
I just decided.
What's
to
up,
put it out.
Benny?
It's fine. Let's just get started. We've got a cozy fireplace, and do you like my cozy fireplace?
I do. I like the gingerbread man that's next to
Did
it.
you see it? You want to see the other ones? I can go through the other ones real quick.
I think I saw them while you were going through them.
So we've got this
I
one.
have your tab on all the time.
We've got this one here. This one's a little bit jarring when it flips back.
Moves back and forth.
Yes. No, just when it loops back to the beginning of the video.
Oh yeah, I see.
Which is like that. Then we got the gingerbread. This one's a little more wintry vibes. It's a little bit shaky. I didn't realize how shaky it was. Hey, Columbus, thanks for the thanks for the anniversary message. And then, of course, we have another fireplace. This one's like when we really need to feel warm. We get this close.
All of these are giving me holiday horror movie vibes.
This one shouldn't.
What?
Well, then, we're very close to the horror stream.
We are very close to getting the horror stream. We're only 60 pounds away.
Oh, that's one Hybrid's not looking forward to.
What?
The horror
The
stream.
horror one? I'm fine with horror.
Yes,
Really?
Benny, I think we are all ready to go for Thursday, just so you know. Sorry.
Oh,
Alright.
how do you want to do this?
Uh,
You want to have like one column, second column, third column?
Sure. I'll take the first one.
I'll take the third one.
I guess I'll take the second one.
That's right, you can
There we go.
bitch.
I get the middle. Yay.
That will be a good night. You definitely need to be there for that.
Yeah,
Alright.
you do. The one who's
Are
not
we
ready
ready?
with horror has to be there for horror. We're ready.
Everybody get settled in, get cozy.
Get real cozy,
Ew, and
boys.
listen.
And, stay, get nice and warm by the fire and enjoy. It was the night before Christmas, when all through the house, not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. The stockings were hung by the chimney with care, in hopes that St. Nicholas soon would be there. The children were nestled all snug in their beds, while visions of sugar plums danced in their heads. And Mama in her kerchief, and I in my cap, had just settled our brains for a long winter's night. When out on the lawn there arose such a clatter, I sprung from the bed to see what was the matter. Away to the window I flew like a flash, tore open the shutters, and threw up the sash. The moon on the breast of the new fallen snow gave the luster of midday to objects below. When what to my wondering I should appear, but a miniature sleigh and 8 tiny reindeer. With a little old driver, so lively and quick, I knew in a moment it must be Saint Nick. More rapid than eagles, his coursers they came.
And he whistled and shouted and called them by name. Now Dasher, now Dancer, now Prancer and Vixen, on Comet, on Cupid, on Donner and Blitzen. To the top of the porch, to the top of the wall, now dash away, dash away, dash away all. As dry leaves before the wild hurricane fly, when they meet with an obstacle, mount to the sky. So up to the housetop the coursers they flew, with the sleigh full of toys and St. Nicholas too. And then in a twinkling I heard on the roof the prancing and pawing of each little hoof. As I drew in my head and was turning around, down the chimney St. Nicholas came with a bound. He was dressed all in fur from his head to his foot, and his clothes were all tarnished with ashes and soot. A bundle of toys was flung on his back, and he looked like a peddler just opening his pack. His eyes, how they twinkled, his dimples, how merry.
His cheeks were like roses, his nose like a cherry. His droll little mouth was drawn up like a bow, and the beard of his chin was as white as the snow. The stump of a pipe he held tight in his teeth, and the smoke encircled his head like a wreath. He had a broad face and a little round belly that shook when he laughed like a bowl full of jelly. He was chubby and plump, a right jolly old elf, and I laughed when I saw him, in spite of myself. A wink of his eye and a twist of his head soon gave me to know I had nothing to dread. He spoke not a word, but went straight to his work, and filled all the stockings, then turned with a jerk, and laying his finger aside of his nose, and giving a nod, up the chimney he rose. He sprung to his sleigh, to his team gave a whistle, and away they all flew like the down of a thistle. But I heard him exclaim, ere he drove out of sight, Happy
Christmas to all, and to all a good night.
You know, that's how we should have ended this.
That's why I hesitated.
I hopped in because I felt the hesitance. I was like, he wants us to do it. I'm doing it.
Yeah, I was like,
Well, that's
let me
okay.
do this. No.
That's okay. No, I meant like we should have ended our stream with Happy Christmas with this because it ends like that.
Oh.
But no.
Oh.
No.
What is that?
Welcome in.
That is
How are you?
Squirtly Boy.
Oh,
The one and only.
okay.
But one thing I noticed as we were reading that is that this is the original version of it, and it is quite different than what we're used to.
Is it?
Well, not quite different, but there's a little thing like rested our brains or settled our brains.
Is that what it said? I never read it before. I
didn't
mean,
even make note. Mostly because I don't remember the one that I was read growing up.
we were told in the womb that Santa didn't exist, so
Jesus.
we didn't really read those stories.
Well, that's just because you're a bunch of bad kids because Santa's real.
Alright, so what is the next on our list? The Elves and the Shoemaker?
Correct. That is the one that I have up next.
How
How
are
do
we
we
going
want
to
to
do
do
this?
this one?
So it's
So
two
I do
pages.
Paragraph by paragraph.
Okay, just
And if we want, I can start. I can take the first two since the first one is one sentence.
sure.
All right. Are we ready?
I mean, we can keep the same order.
Sure.
It's fine with me.
All right. Settle in once again, and we're gonna read you another Christmas story.
Tell him who it's by.
This is The Elves and the Shoemaker by the Brothers Grimm. Somewhere I had like the actual all of their names, but you know what? That's fine. There once was a shoemaker who worked very hard and was very honest. Still, he could not earn enough to live upon, and at last he had all. And at last all he had in the world was gone, save just leather enough to make one pair of shoes.
Okay.
Then he cut his leather out, all ready to make up the next day. Means to rise early in the morning to his work. His conscience was clear and his heart light amidst all his troubles. So he went hastily to bed and left all his cares to heaven, and soon fell asleep. In the morning after he said his prayer, he sat himself down to his work. When to his great wonder there stood the shoes already made upon the table. The good man knew not what to say or think. At such an odd happening, he looked at the workmanship. There was not one false stitch in the whole job. All was so neat and true, it was quite a masterpiece.
The same day, a customer came in, and the shoes suited him so well that he willingly paid a price higher than usual for them. The poor shoemaker with the money bought leather enough to make 2 pairs more. In the evening, he cut out the work and went to bed early, that he might get up and begin the next day. But he was saved all the trouble, for when he got up in the morning, the work was done, ready to his hand. Soon in came buyers who paid him handsomely for his goods, so that he bought leather enough for 4 pair more. He cut out the work again overnight, and found it done in the morning, as before. So it went on for some time. What was got ready in the evening was always done by daybreak, and the good man soon became thriving and well off.
One evening, about Christmas time, as he and his wife were sitting over the fire chatting together, he said to her, "I should like to sit up and watch tonight, so that we may see who it is that comes and does my work for me." The wife liked the thought, so they left a light burning, hid themselves in a corner of the room behind a curtain that was hung up there, and watched what would happen.
As soon as it was midnight, there came 2 little elves, and they sat themselves upon the shoemaker's bench, took up all the work that was cut out, and began to ply with their little fingers, stitching and tapping away at such a rate that the shoemaker was all wonder, and could not take his eyes off them. And on they went till the job was quite done, and the shoe stood ready for use upon the table. This was long before daybreak, and then bustled away as quick as they came.
The next day the wife said to the shoemaker, "These little waits have made us rich, and we ought to be thankful to them, and do them a good turn if we can. I am quite sorry to see them run about as they do, and indeed it is not very decent, for they have nothing upon their backs to keep off the cold. I'll tell you what, I will make each of them a shirt, coat, waistcoat, and pair of pantaloons, and you can make each of them a little pair of shoes.
The thought pleased the good cobbler very much, and one evening, when all the things were ready, they laid them on the table, instead of the work that they used to cut out, and then went and hid themselves to watch what the little elves would do.
About midnight, in they came, dancing and skipping, hopped around the room and went to sit down at their work, as usual. But when they saw the clothes lying there, they laughed and chuckled, and seemed mighty delighted.
Then they dressed themselves in the twinkling of an eye, and danced and capered and sprang about as merry as could be, till at last they danced out the door and away over the green.
The good couple saw them no more, but everything went well with them from that time forward, as long as they lived. The end.
I would like to point out... Oh, we literally are about to point out the exact same thing, and I know it.
That all of us kept reading in the same, like,
Yeah.
the same way as we read the first one, so we're all going, the good couple saw that. No. But, like...
Yeah, we kept the same cadence that we did for,
that's the one I was looking for.
What's my fortress?
Okay, well, that's not what I was going to point out. I was going to point out the fact that there are these naked elves just running around the shoemaker's store.
Right, I was picking up on that too. Wait a minute.
They're nude?
They had nothing?
She's like, I'm gonna make them a coat. Okay, cool. No,
Cool, a
she's
coat.
Make them all the clothes.
And pants.
A waistcoat, like shoes, pants, like, pardon?
Pardon?
The fuck else running around naked?
I gotta say, for our Brothers Grimm story, that was actually very tame.
It was also, well, I mean, it was their Christmas story. They did something.
Right, I just think it was very sweet compared to, like, their other stories where it's like, you know...
Also, I've heard this story before, but not as like a Christmas story.
I think so too. But...
But also, you expect, with the Brothers Grimm story, everything everything went well with them from that time forward as long as they lived, which was about 3 days before the elves came back and ate them.
Well, the elves' home was the...
Thanks for the hydrator, Nova.
The part they don't tell you is that the elves' home was the corpse of a girl who had run away from home. So, there you go. They just live in there. That's just where they live. We love her.
Tell a stranger with white hair, 2 swords showed up.
No, what we don't know is that these elves get captured and then start making toys for Santa.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. They were then forced
It's the same origin story.
Or what if they're refugees from Santa? That's why they don't have clothes.
They were on the run, and now they've got clothes and they can... Oh no. Weird
Why are we making
Christmas stories.
Why are we making this so much worse?
Because it's the Grimm, we have to.
Because it's the gift we have. Speaking of the gift we have, is our next story. How do we want to do this one?
Same thing we've been doing?
By paragraph?
Or do we want to go by page?
Or do we want to go by page?
6 pages? I mean, we can go by page. How much is on the last page?
My
Oh, yeah.
only request is like, it breaks out pretty evenly, except for higher.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, no, except for Plum Minutes. Plum just gets 2 full pages. You and I get like shorter ones at the beginning and end.
True.
Are you okay with that, Plumbus?
I will be okay with that.
Are we okay with that?
Yes.
The only request that I have is that you don't stop reading in the middle of a sentence if the sentence goes on to the next page.
Okay.
Yeah. That's a good call.
Alright, well then let's get started. This is the gift of the bag. I forget who it's by.
It's by somebody. They have a name somewhere.
Is it at the end? No.
By O. Henry.
Oh, Henry.
That's all I got is by O. Henry.
The candy
Oh,
bar?
yeah, Henry. Sure. $1.87. That was all. She had put aside 1 cent and then another in her careful buying of meat and other food. Della counted it 3 times, $1.87. And the next day would be Christmas. There was nothing. All right, we're doing pages. Fall on the bed and cry. So Della did it. While the lady of the home is slowly growing quieter, we can look at the home. Furnished rooms at the cost of $8 a week. There's little more to say about it. And in the hall below was a letterbox, too small to hold a letter. There was an electric bell, but it could not make a sound. And there was a name inside the door. Mr. James Dillingham.
When the name was placed there, Mr. James Dillingham Young was being paid $30 a week. Now, when he was being paid only $20 a week, the name seemed too long and important. It should perhaps have been Mr. James D. Young. But when Mr. James Dillingham Young entered the furnished rooms, his name became very short indeed. Mrs. James Dillingham Young put her arms warmly about him and called him Jim. You have already met her. She is Della. Della finished her crying and cleaned the marks of it from her face. She stood by the window and looked out with no interest. Tomorrow would be Christmas Day, and she had only $1.87 with which to buy Jim a gift. She had to put aside as much as she could for months, with this result. $20 a week is not much. Everything had cost more than she had expected. It always happened like that. Only $1.87 to buy a gift for Jim. Her Jim. She had had many happy hours planning something nice for him. Something nearly good enough. Something almost worth the honor of belonging to Jim. There was a looking glass between the windows of the room. Perhaps you have seen the kind of looking glass that is placed in the $8 furnished rooms. It is very narrow. A person could only see a little of himself at a time. However, if he was very thin and moved very quickly, he might be able to get a good view of himself. Della, being quite thin, had mastered this art. Suddenly she turned from the window and stood before the glass. Her eyes were shining brightly, but her face had lost its color. Quickly she pulled down her hair and let it fall to its complete length. The James Dillingham Youngs were very proud of 2 things which they owned. One thing was Jim's gold watch. It had belonged to his father, and long ago it had belonged to his father's father. The other thing was Della's hair. If a queen had lived in the rooms near theirs, Della would have washed and dried her hair where the queen could see it. Della knew her hair was more beautiful than any queen's jewels and gifts. If a king had lived in the same house with all his riches, Jim would have looked at his watch every time they met. Jim knew that no king had anything so valuable.
So now Della's beautiful hair fell about her, shining like a falling stream of brown water. It reached below her knee. It almost made itself into a dress for her. And then she put it up on her head again, nervously and quickly. Once she stopped for a moment and stood still while a tear or two ran down her face. She put on her old brown coat. She put on her old brown hat. With the bright light still in her eyes, she moved quickly out the door and down to the street. Where she stopped, the sign said, Mrs. Sofroni, hair articles of all kinds. Up to the second floor, Della ran and stopped to get her breath. Mrs. Sofroni, large, too white, cold-eyed, looked at her. Will you buy my hair? Asked Della. I buy hair, said Mrs. Sofroni. Take your hat off and let me take a look at it. Down fell the brown waterfall. $20, said Mrs. Sofroni, lifting the hair to feel its weight. Give it to me quick, said Della. Oh, and the next 2 hours seemed to fly. She was going from one shop to another to find a gift for Jim. She found it at last. It surely had been made for Jim and no one else. There was no other like it in any of the shops, and she had looked in every shop in the city. It was a gold watch chain, very simply made. Its value was in its rich and pure material. Because it was so plain and simple, you knew that it was very valuable. All good things are like this. It was good enough for the watch. As soon as she saw it, she knew that Jim must have it. It was like him, quietness and value. Jim and the chain both had quietness and value. She paid $21 for it, and she hurried home with the chain and 87 cents.
With that chain on his watch, Jim could look at his watch and learn the time anywhere he might be. Though the watch was so fine, it never had a fine chain. He sometimes took it out and looked at it, only when no one could see him do it. When Della arrived home, her mind quieted a little. She began to think more reasonably. She started to try to cover the sad marks of what she had done. Love and large-hearted giving, when added together, can leave deep marks. And it is never easy to cover these marks, dear friends. Never easy. Within 40 minutes, her head looked a little better. With her short hair, she looked wonderfully like a schoolboy. She stood at the looking glass for a long time. If Jim doesn't kill me, she said to herself before he looks at me a second time, he'll say I look like a girl who sings and dances for money. But what can I do? Oh, what could I do with $1.87? At 7, Jim's dinner was ready for him. Jim was never late. Della held the watch chain in her hand and sat near the door, where he always entered. Then she heard his steps in the hall, and her face lost color for a moment. She often said little prayers quietly about simple, everyday things. Now she said, please God, make him think I'm still pretty. The door opened and Jim stepped in. He looked very thin, and he was not smiling. Poor fellow. He was only 22, and with a family to take care of. He needed a new coat, and he had nothing to cover his cold hands. Jim stopped inside the door. He was quiet as a hunting dog when it's near a bird. He looked strangely at Della, and there was an expression in them. Oh, his eyes looked strangely at Della, and there was an expression in them that she could not understand. It filled her with fear. It was not anger or surprise, nor anything because she had been ready for it. He simply looked at her with that strange expression on his face. Della went to Jim. Dear Jim, she cried, don't look at me like that. I had to cut my hair off. I had my hair cut off and sold it. I couldn't live through Christmas without giving you a gift.
My hair will grow again. You won't care, will you? My hair grows very fast. It's Christmas, Jim. Let's be happy. You don't know what a beautiful, nice gift I got for you. You've cut off your hair? Asked Jim slowly. He seemed to labor to understand what had happened. He seemed not to feel sure he knew. Cut it off and sold it, said Della. Don't you like me now? I'm me, Jim. I'm the same me without my hair. Jim looked around the room. You say your hair is gone? He said. You don't have to look for it, said Della. It's sold, I tell you. Sold and gone, too. It's the night before Christmas, boy. Be good to me, because I sold it for you. Maybe the hairs of my head could be counted, she said, but no one could ever count my love for you. Shall we eat dinner, Jim? Jim put his arms around his Della. For 10 seconds, let us look in another direction. $8 a week or $1 million a year. How different are they? Someone may give you an answer, but it will be wrong. The Magi brought valuable gifts, but that was not among them. My meaning will be explained soon. From inside the coat, Jim took something tied in paper. He threw it upon the table. I want you to understand me, Dell, he said. Nothing like a haircut could make me love you any less. But if you'll open that, you may know what I felt when I came in. White fingers pulled off the paper, and then a cry of joy, and then a change to tears. For there lay the combs that Della had seen in a shop window and loved for a long time. Beautiful combs, with jewels, perfect for her beautiful hair. She had known they cost too much for her to buy them. She had looked at them without the least hope of owning them, and now they were hers. but her hair was gone. But she held them to her heart, and at last was able to look up and say, "My hair grows so fast, Jim."
And then she jumped up and cried, "Oh, oh, oh!" Jim had not yet seen his beautiful gift. She held it out to him in her open hand. The gold seemed to shine softly as if with her warm and loving spirit. "Isn't it perfect, Jim? I hunted all over town to find it. You'll have to look at your watch with 100 times a day now. Give me your watch. I want to see how they look together." Jim sat down and smiled. "Della," said he, "let's put our Christmas gifts away and keep them a while. They're too nice to use now. I sold the watch to get the money to buy the combs, and now I think we should have our dinner." The Magi, as you know, were wise men, wonderfully wise men, who brought gifts to the newborn Christ child. They were the first to give Christmas gifts. Being wise, their gifts were doubtless wise ones. And here I have told you the story of two children who were not wise. Each sold the most valuable thing he owned in order to buy a gift for the other. But let me speak a last word to the wise of these days. Of all who give gifts, these two were the most wise. Of all who give and receive gifts, such as they are the most wise. Everywhere they are the wise one. They are the Magi.
Aww.
I didn't understand that last paragraph that I just read.
So
Yeah, that was
basically,
a
it
lot.
seems like they're dumb, but they
They're
gave
not.
up to give a gift to someone they loved. They gave up their most valuable thing, the thing that they treasured most in the world, just to see the other person smile.
Gotcha. Okay.
So they're the wisest of all when it comes to gift giving.
Wholesome.
Very wholesome.
So
Also, can we just talk about the fact that the motherfucker was like, "You sold your hair," and he's like looking around the house for it?
You cut off your hair? Where is it? Where did it
Why it's
go?
back on. What the fuck?
Right? I bought these
Also-
combs. How does this go? We'll comb your cut off hair.
Well, you shaved your hair. Well, Jim's probably got hair, right? Oh, his
Yeah.
hair was fucking. Now he has no. Because here's the other thing too: is like she cut off her hair. That'll grow back. He sold his
Right.
grandfather's watch. He ain't getting that back.
Yeah, and that's quite a thing to sell. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a gift that's a thing that's been passed down from generation to generation.
From generation to generation.
Indeed.
Good God.
Father to son. But yeah.
Father to son. But yeah, that was interesting. It's a nice story. I like that one. I don't know how the next one's gonna go.
Well, I think before we do the next one, because I know, like, since this one's an 18-page one, and I believe we're both coming up on ad breaks, it may behoove us to pause on reading until after the ad breaks are done. So
I will agree with you.
I think it's a good time to actually just talk about the charities and
Yeah.
the reason we're even doing all of this.
Yes.
Sound good? Yay! My brain works functionally. What?
I'm just gonna do it again in the chat. So no, I think I still have it. That's a list of charities. That's unfortunate.
I was just about to type that in your chat to give you the link.
I did it. Okay. So, Sharon, thank you for the hydrate.
No problem.
Oh no!
What?
I've been using this cup forever. Look at it.
Why? What's wrong with it?
It's got green on it, and the green disappears. The others are red.
Your cup is green straining out.
Hold on.
That's funny.
Oh, but now it's black. She goes, bro.
Oh, I see. And the slime was getting. Oh.
Which I mean,
Slime
it
has
does
been,
work, right? Like
the slime has been green screened out and is now just white drippiness around the top of your cup.
well, now it's white drippiness on this scene. It was black drippiness on the other, which is actually more concerning. But you know.
I have concerns and questions as no.
Anyway, moving on. Yeah. So 12 charities, 12 charities, 12 charities, 12
Charities, there are 12.
So the first one we have here is Autistica.
Creating a mental health and well-being tips hub for young autistic people. Sorry, I had a yawn. There.
Campaign against living miserably.
Answering 50,000 potentially life-saving helpline calls in 2024 from young people struggling to see a way forward. Forward? Forward. Aiming to provide 1 million meals to people who need them most this winter by working together with Fair Share and local community groups.
Couple of feet.
Raising awareness of the signs and symptoms of breast cancer amongst young people and driving relevancy amongst underrepresented groups that it can affect anybody, regardless of age, gender, or race.
Gallup.
Unlocking a better future for LGBT plus youth with the National Abuse and Violence Service.
Movember.
Working towards a future where men and their communities live happier and longer lives by solving some of the most complex issues facing men today, such as prostate and testicular cancer.
Hello World.
Hi. Closing the digital divide for marginalized children and young people globally.
Just dig it.
Regreening African landscapes by using indigenous techniques, mobile technology, and communication to inspire farmers to restore their land.
RNIB, the Royal National Institute for Blind People. Of Blind People.
Transforming the lives of children and young people with vision impairment through education, social support, and the joy of accessible video gaming.
War Child.
To protect, educate, and advocate for the rights of children impacted by the ongoing conflict in the Ukraine.
Wallace and Gromit's Great Repeal.
Creating a unique facility called Jingle Jam Building to help sick children at Bristol Children's Hospital.
And whale and dolphin conservation.
Helping to end whaling and hunting for good so that whales and dolphins can keep performing their vital role in the ocean to help us fight climate and biodiversity breakdown. These are your 12 charities.
Correct. Yes, they are.
Choose wisely.
No, or you can donate
Choose
to all of them.
your.
You can set it up so your donation goes to all of them. If you donate with my link, it will go. It'll be divided amongst them all. Actually, this is on the website. So check this out. This is kind of cool. I found this donation tracker. You can see. So 38,874 collections have been distributed so far at 48,716 donations. The average donation is £40 and 73 cents. Okay. And they've raised £23,633,851 since 2011.
Wow.
Oh,
This
wow.
is updating live. So you can see each charity and what they have raised here. If you just go to jinglejam.co.uk and click on the link for a donation tracker at the top, you can see all of what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah, no, I'm looking.
And then right here, previous years, you can actually see how each year did. With I believe 2017 being the biggest year, but we're coming back. We're getting close. We getting close last year. We're getting close to we're doing well this year. And then if you come down here, 2018. Well, we're tracking
Holy
actually.
crap.
Yeah, you can see
Just
where.
FYI, that raised number from 2011 since 2011 computes out to in dollars $29,786,545.
Oh my God.
Almost
So-
$30 million. which clearly is going to definitely absolutely get hit this year.
And I just want to point out that it started in 2011 with 65,000 pounds, and it started with like a day-long event, or not, really a week-long event, and it was all done like in person. They did a lot of in-person stuff.
Yeah.
And now we're looking at millions raised every year. We're over 3/4 of the way to the 2 million pound mark here. You can see where each of these go. You can see like all of the charities are actually tracking fairly similarly, except for Calm is actually up, about 40,000 more than what I'm calculating on average. No, it's not even that. But whale and dolphin conservation is doing really well as well.
Because whales are awesome.
But yeah, I mean, you can see there's like the donations are going pretty evenly throughout. I think it's awesome to note that or just to see all this and see where the money's going and how much it's going to help.
Yes.
And just to see that 1.6 million. God damn.
1.6 million sterling.
Oh, it finally ended today too. The August Cast was on, and the last stream of the day, or the last game of the day, was they were doing a Civ 5 stream. And it ran over by like 3 hours.
Oh wow!
It was supposed to be a 12-hour day, and last time I checked, they were just past the 15-hour mark.
Oh.
So, and they're currently rebroadcasting the day, so you can go check it out if you want.
No, Blue Bear, we're not nuking the whales.
Not nuke the whale. What? Good lord. But yeah, that's so this is like it's a really cool thing, and it's really great. And if you donate 35 pounds, and this is the part we haven't touched on yet, and we're coming up to the end of my abilities, but if you donate 35 pounds, that's not it. This is it. You get the collection.
Yes.
The collection. The collection has. I mean, it's like $1,200 worth of games. So it's like $44 US, and you end up with like $1,200 worth of games.
I think I paid 46 and change, but
Should have petitioned Dr. Scrolls. You know what, Akar, you're not new here, and I refuse to accept. I don't even think you can hear me right now, so give me 10 seconds, and I'm going to respond to all of you. Hold on. Akar. Oh, you can. Oh, okay. So you weren't getting the ad break. Interesting. But anyway, listen, you.
Listen.
You and your petition to not free squirrels. I'm getting canceled over here, apparently. But yeah, Akar, I know you play some PC games. If you click on that Jingle Jam link and donate 35 pounds, you select the collection and add it to your cart, you'll get all of this. All of it.
All of this.
I don't really know your personal video game preferences that well, but I can tell you that there'll be something in here that you're gonna like. And if there's not a few in here, well, I don't know, but like, you play a few games here, you've made your money back. You got your money worth out. You get no ads on Twitch. Well, you know what? Hit me up with that ad blocker link, what the hell? But yeah, the collection is amazing.
Yeah, I mean, we've already played these games from this already. Last night we played Make Way, which was an absolute chaotic, amazing time.
Yep.
So good.
It was really good.
And then for that we did the golf stream, but that wasn't one of the games from the collection.
Golfy was
But
great
after
though.
Golf It, you and I played.
Twitch Turbo. Okay. That's what we're...
Totally accurate battle
after Golf
simulator.
It, you and I played Tabs, totally accurate battle simulator.
We did.
Which was also fun.
Some versus mode with Tabs. And then we've also played. God, what was the first one we played?
Golf.
we did Golfy, and then we did Tab. We're 5 days in. We did 4 streams. We listed 3 games. What else did we play?
Zepkis.
Oh, yeah.
Zepkis.
Zepkis.
Yes, first time we played Zepkis. This game. Hold on.
Yeah. Oh, that hurt. Ow.
This game is absolutely awesome.
And Ronnie gave shit, what was that? I just had it. My brain had it. I lost it.
Some
Cosmos Quick Stop.
Cosmos Quick
She
Stop, yeah.
gave that a try the other day. Last night I tried Grobot.
Personally, I've also played a little bit of Super Hot off stream. I played a little bit of Godfall. You've already played Monster Prom 1, right?
Oh yeah, long time ago.
I've also heard wonderful things about a short hike. I've heard it's a very relaxing and fun little game.
Tiny Life is really cool. I was playing that earlier while I was just getting ready. I was waiting. I was just hanging out with my kid, and he was talking to his mom on the phone. So I just pulled that up and played a little bit. It's basically The Sims, but hilarious, beautiful pixel art. Where's that one? That's somewhere in here. It's in a different order because I'm not on the phone. There it is. I've seen gameplay for Tiny Topia. That looks amazing. Turbo Golf Racing. I really do want to play that. Like really.
I absolutely do.
Because that was just looks so good. Playing student loans and trying to survive in NYC on my own minimum wage part-time job where my expenses are more than my income, and I can't credit card is the most sustainable situation. No. You know what? Don't donate this year. There'll be another collection next year, and you're better than worry about it then.
Yes, as always, it's never an obligation. It's always an appreciation. Do not ever put yourself out financially to donate. If you can donate, that's great. If you can't, that's okay. All we really ask is, share the link.
Share the link, and here's the thought. Do what you want for Christmas.
Right? Oh my god, yeah, that's an amazing idea. Hey.
Until the 14th, so there's still a few days left. They can pick it up. The codes will be sent by emails. They gotta send to you or them if they want to, give it to them. Just a thought.
I could be completely wrong.
They'll get, they'll know what to get you for Christmas. They'll get a warm fuzzy because they're donated to charity, and you'll get a lot of games. It's a win-win.
And I think that it's I think anybody, even like people who don't play video games and stuff like that, can see the value in this. Where you're getting $1,200 a game for $44. So, and 44 is not like what do you want for Christmas? Oh, it's $5 thing. But it's definitely people will see that in it. Came out of the game like fucking fan, came to talk to my parents and whatever. Yeah, I remember you sent me was it a letter or your writing piece on it, and I read it. Glad to be out of religion in spite of all that. Fair enough. I learned a lot from your piece there about how that all was, and yeah, I can see it. Everything comes at a cost. It does. Trust me, I understand that. I think we all understand that.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
But yeah,
sorry.
So if anybody wants to, good Lord, but if anybody's interested in the collection, !JJ in the chat, in my chat, !Jingle. Columbus, do you have a chat? Yeah.
Yep, I got the exclamation point JJ.
In Columbus's chat, and you can check out all these games. Yeah. Okay, ad break's over. Shall we get into our final story?
Our final story, the longer one.
The very
Longest one. How do we want to do this one? Page by page again? Oh wait, no, 17 pages technically.
Whatever. Page by page, are we good with that?
Sure.
I'll read the first. I'll read the first page. A Christmas Tree by Charles Dickens.
Oh, shut your hole.
Oh my God! The whole first page is one paragraph.
It is a long little tale.
Okay, well.
I mean, if you want, we can change the order and I'll go first.
That word. That's good. I'm glad to get a car. I know. Glad things are looking up a little bit. And I can read the first page.
Okay.
I'll kick it off. This is A Christmas Tree by Charles Dickens. Hold on, I gotta jump there.
That's a weird part of the story. Dude, I can see the look on your face.
Yeah, I just looked up at and what the hell are you saying in your chat?
What?
I'm the Scat Santa.
Well, he said picturing Santa as like a, like I'm the Scat Man, but not like stop.
Well, to be fair, the Scatman's name is spelled S-C-A-T-M-A-N. It's spelled the same way as you would spell the other alluded to version. But,
Scatman John, everybody. Nobody music yet. It might be. I want it to be. I would play just that one song all the time. But under my stream, it's all Scatman John.
it's the Scat Channel.
Oh God, no, can't do that.
All scat all the time.
Anyway. All the time. Oh my fucking God.
This chat is scatological.
Talk anymore. I don't. You're ruining my Christmas stories. I was trying to have a nice Christmas story reading time.
And we just scat all over it.
Oh.
Most of those videos are.
Anyway.
Jesus has left the chat.
Now we've gotten that shit out of our system.
That shit. Shut up. What? Don't look like a pucker. I'm fixing my hat. It looked like a puckered butthole in the front for a second.
Speaking of,
Alright, ready?
Yeah.
A Christmas Tree by Charles Dickens. I've been looking on this evening at a merry company of children assembled around that pretty German toy, a Christmas tree. The tree was planted in the middle of a great round table and towered high above their heads. It was brilliantly lighted by a multitude of little tappers, and everywhere sparkled and glittered bright objects. There were rosy-cheeked dolls hiding behind the green leaves. There were real watches with movable hands, at least, and an endless capacity for being wound up. Dangling from innumerable twigs, there were French-polished tables, chairs, bedsteads, wardrobes, 8-day clocks, and other various articles of domestic furniture wonderfully made in tin and Wolverhampton, I think, because it's German, perched among the boughs, as if in preparation for some fairy housekeeping. There were jolly, broad-faced little men, much more agreeable in appearance than many real men, and wonder, for their heads took off and showed them to be full of sugar plums. There were fiddles and drums, there were tambourines, books, word boxes, paint boxes, sweetmeat boxes, peep show boxes, all kinds of boxes. There were trinkets for the elder girls, far brighter than any grown-up gold and jewels. There were baskets and pin cushions, hauling devices. There were guns and swords and banners. There were witches standing in enchanted rings of pasteboard to tell fortunes on There were Tito tumblers, humming tops, needle cases, pen wire, smelling bottles, conversation cards, bouquet holders, real fruit made artificially dazzling with gold leaf, imitation apples, pears, and walnuts, crammed with surprises. In short, as a pretty child before me delightedly whispered to another pretty child, her bosom, her bosom friend.
You were right.
Everything. I'm gonna pass that one up. There is everything and more. This motley collection of odd objects clustering on the tree like magic fruit, flashing back, the bright looks directed toward it every side. Some of the diamond eyes admiring it were hardly on a level with the table, and a few laughing, or a few were languish in timid wonder on the bosoms of pretty mothers, aunts, and nurses, made a lively realization of the fancies of childhood, and set me thinking of all the trees grow, all the things that come into existence have their own wild adornments at that well-remembered time.
Being now at home again and alone, the only person in the house awake, my thoughts are drawn back by a fascination which I do not care to resist to my own childhood. I begin to consider, what do we all remember best upon the branches of the Christmas tree of our own young Christmas days, by which we climbed to real life? Straight in the middle of the room, cramped in the freedom of its growth by no encircling walls or soon-reached ceiling, a shadowy tree arises, and, looking up into the dreamy brightness of its top, for I observe in this tree the singular property that it appears to grow downwards towards the earth, I look into my youngest Christmas recollections. All toys at first, I find. Up yonder among the green holly and red berries is the tumbler with his hands in his pockets, who wouldn't lie down, but whenever he was put upon the floor, persisted in rolling his fat body about until he rolled himself still, and brought those lobster eyes of his to bear upon me, when I affected to laugh very much, but in my heart of hearts was extremely doubtful of him. Close beside him is that infernal snuff-box, out of which there sprang a demoniacal counsellor in a black gown, with an obnoxious head of hair, and a red cloth mouth wide open, who was not to be endured on any terms, but could not be put away either, for he used suddenly, in a highly magnified state, to fly out of mammoth snuff-boxes in dreams, when he least expected. Nor is the frog with cobbler's wax on his tail far off, for there was no knowing where he wouldn't jump, and when he flew over the candle and came upon one's hand with that spotted back, red on a green ground, he was horrible. The cardboard lady in a blue silk skirt who stood up against the candlestick to dance, and whom I see on the same branch, was milder and was beautiful. But I can't say as much for the larger cardboard man, who used to be hung against the wall and pulled by a string. There was a sinister expression in that nose of his, and when he got his legs around his neck, which he very often did, he was ghastly, and not a creature to be alone with.
When did that dreadful mask first look at me? Who put it on, and why was I so frightened that the sight of it is an era in my life? It is not a hideous visage in itself. It is even meant to be droll. Why then were its stolid features so intolerable? Surely not because it hid the wearer's face. An apron would have done as much, and though I should have preferred even the apron away, it would not have been absolutely insupportable, like the mask. Was it the immovability of the mask? The doll's face was immovable, but I was not afraid of her. Perhaps that fixed yet set change coming over a real face infused into my quickened heart some remote suggestion and dread of the universal change that is to come on every face and make it still. Nothing reconciled me to it. No drummers, from whom proceeded a melancholy chirping on the turning of a handle. No regiment of soldiers with a mute band taken out of a box and fitted, one by one, upon a stiff and lazy little set of lazy tongs. No old woman made of wires and a brown paper composition cutting up a pie for two small children could give me a permanent comfort for a long time. Nor was it any satisfaction to be shown the mask and see that it was made of paper, or to have it locked up and be assured that no one wore it. The mere recollection of that fixed face, the mere knowledge of its existence anywhere, was sufficient to awake me in the night, all perspiration and horror, with, "Oh, I know it's coming! Oh, the mask!" I never wondered what the dear old donkey with the panniers, there he is, was made of. Then, his hide was real to the touch, I recollect. And the great black horse with the round red spots all over him, the horse that I could even get upon. I never wondered what had brought him to that strange condition, or thought that such a horse was not commonly seen at Newmarket. The four horses of no color next to him that went into the wagon of cheeses and could be taken out and stabled under the piano appeared to have bits of fur tippet for their tails and other bits for their manes, and to stand on pegs instead of legs. But it was not so when they were brought home for a Christmas present. They were all right then. Neither was their harness unceremoniously nailed into their chests, as appears to be the case now. The tinkling works of the music cart I did find out to be made of quill toothpicks and wire, and I always thought that little tumbler in his shirt sleeves perpetually swarming up one side of the wooden frame and coming down, head foremost, on the other, rather a weak-minded person, though good-natured, but the Jacob's ladder next him, made of little squares of red wood that went flapping and clattering over one another, each developing a different picture, and the whole enlivened by small bells, was a mighty marvel and a great delight.
And you have to hit the word minimum word count on an essay.
I was like, I know we're supposed to go to the end of the sentence, but my God.
It's a whole fucking
Yes.
page.
Ah,
The dollhouse, of which I was not proprietor, but where I visited. I don't admire the House of Parliament half as much as that stone-fronted mansion with real glass windows and doorsteps and a real balcony, greener than I've ever seen now, except in watering places. And even they afford but a poor imitation. And though I did open all at once, the entire house front, which was a blow, as cancelling the fiction of the staircase. It was but to shut it up again, and I could believe, even open, that there were 3 distinct rooms in it. A sitting room, a bedroom, elegantly furnished, and best of all, a kitchen, with uncommonly soft fire, iron, fire irons, a plentiful assortment of unitary utensils. Oh, the warming pan, and a tin man, cook, and profile, who was always going to fry 2 fish. What besides justice I had done to a noble feast wearing a set of wooden platters, figured, each with its own particular delicacy, as a ham or a turkey glued tight onto it, and garnished with some green, which I recollect as moss, could all the temperance societies of these later days united give me such a tea drinking as I have thought the means of yonder little set of blue crockery, which really would hold liquid. It ran out with a small wooden cask, I recollect, and tasted of matches. And which made tea, nectar, and if the 2 legs of ineffectual little sugar tongs did tumble over one another, and what propose, like Punch's hands, what does it matter? And if I did once shriek out, as a poisoned child, and strike the fashionable company with consternation, by reason of having drunk a little teaspoon inadvertently dissolved in hot tea, that I was never the worse for it, except by a couple.
upon the next branches of the tree, lower down, hard by the green roller and miniature gardening tools. How thick the books begin to hang. Thin books in themselves at first, but many of them, and with deliciously smooth covers of bright red or green. What fat black letters to begin with. A was an archer and shot at a frog. Of course he was. He was an apple pie also. And there he is. He was a good many things in his time, was A, and so were most of his friends, except X, who had so little versatility that they never knew him to get beyond Xerxes or Xantippe, like Y, who always confined to a yacht or a yew tree, and Z condemned forever to be a zebra or a zany. But now the very tree itself changes and becomes a beanstalk, the marvelous beanstalk up which Jack climbed to the giant's house. And now those dreadfully interesting double-headed giants, with their clubs over their shoulders, begin to stride along the boughs in a perfect throng, dragging knights and ladies for dinner by the hair of their heads. And Jack, now noble, with his sword of sharpness and his shoes of swiftness. Again those old meditations come upon me as I gaze up at him, and I debate within myself whether there was more than one Jack, which I am loath to believe possible, or only one genuine, original, admirable Jack, who achieved all the recorded exploits. Good for Christmas time is the ruddy color of the cloak, in which the tree making a forest of itself for her trip through, with her basket, Little Red Riding Hood comes to me one Christmas Eve to give me information of the cruelty and treachery of that dissembling wolf who ate her grandmother, without making any impression on his appetite, and then ate her, after making that ferocious joke about his teeth. She was my first love. I felt that if I could have married Little Red Riding Hood, I should have known perfect bliss. But it was not to be, and there was nothing for it but to look out the wolf in the Noah's Ark there, and put him late in the procession on the table, as a monster who was to be degraded. Oh, the wonderful Noah's Ark! It was not found seaworthy when put in a washing tub, and the animals were crammed in at the roof, and they needed to have their legs well shaken down before they could be got in, even there. And then, 10 to 1, but they began to tumble out at the door, which was but imperfectly fastened with a wire latch. But what was that against it?
Consider the noble fly, a size or two smaller than the elephant, the ladybird, the butterfly, all triumphs of art. Consider the goose, whose feet were so small and whose balance was so indifferent that he usually tumbled forward and knocked down all the animal creation. Consider Noah and his family like the idiotic tobacco stoppers, and how the leopards stuck to warm little fingers, and how the tails of the larger animals used gradually to resolve themselves into frayed bits of string. Hush! Again, a forest and somebody up in a tree. Not Robin Hood, not Valentine, not the yellow dwarf. I have passed him in all Mother Bunch's wonders without mention. But an eastern king, with a glittering scimitar and turban. By Allah, 2 eastern kings, for I see another, looking over his shoulder. Down upon the grass at the tree's foot lies the full length of a coal-black giant, stretched asleep, with his head in a lady's lap, and near them is a glass box, fastened with 4 locks of shining steel, in which he keeps the lady prisoner when he is awake. I see the 4 keys at his girdle now. The lady makes signs to the 2 keys and the 2 kings in the tree, who softly descend. It is the setting in of the bright Arabian Nights. Oh, now all common things become uncommon and enchanted to me. All lamps are wonderful, all rings are talismans. Common flower pots are full of treasure, with a little earth scattered on the top. Trees are for Ali Baba to hide in. Beefsteaks are to throw down into the valley of diamonds, that the precious stones may stick to them, and be carried by the eagles to their nests, whence the traders with loud cries will scare them. Tarts are made according to the recipe of the vizier's son of Basra, who turned pastry cook after he was set down in his drawers at the gate of Damascus. cobblers are all Mustafas, and in the habit of sewing up people cut into 4 pieces to whom they are taken blindfold. Huh.
Any iron ring let into stone is the entrance to a cave, which only waits for the magician, and the little fire, and the necromancy that will make the earth shake. All dates imported come from the same tree as that unlucky date, with whose shell the merchant knocked out the eye of the genie.
You know what the rest of this Fago?
No.
There's a lot of it.
I'm okay.
The stock of that fresh fruit, concerning which
Do you mind snagging me another beer, though?
Faithful
Thank
overheard
you.
the boy conduct the fictional trial of the fraudulent olive merchant. All apples are akin to the apple purchased with 2 others from the Sultan's gardener for 3 sequins, and which the tall black slave stole from the child. All dogs are associated with the dog, really a transformed man, who jumped upon the baker's counter, put his paw on a piece of bad money. All rice recalls the rice which the awful lady, who was a ghoul, could only peck by grains because of her nightly feast in the burial place. My very rocking horse, there he is, with his nostrils turned completely inside out, indicative of blood, should have a pain in his neck by the
Thanks, friend.
thereof to fly away with me, as the wooden horse did with Prince of Persia in the nights, in the sight of all his father's court. Yes, on every object that I recognize among those upper branches of my Christmas tree, I see this fairy light. When I wake in bed at daybreak on cold, dark winter mornings, and the white snow dimly beheld outside with frost on the window pane, I hear dinner day. Sister, you are yet awake. I pray you finish the history of the young king of the Black Islands. There replies.
Oh, Sherazade.
Sherazade.
Replied, if my lord the Sultan will suffer me to live another day, sister, I will not only finish that, but tell you a more wonderful story yet. Then the gracious Sultan goes out, giving no orders for the execution, and we all 3 breathe again. At the height of my tree, I began to see a cowering among the leaves, maybe born of turkey or pudding, or mince pie, or of those many fancies jumbled with Robinson Crusoe on his desert island, Philip Quarrel among the monkeys, Sanford and Merton with Mr. Barlow, Mother Butch, and the Mass. Or it may be the result of indigestion, assisted by imagination, over-doctoring, prodigious nightmare. It is so exceedingly indistinct that I don't know why it's frightful, but I know it is.
I can only make out that it is an immense array of shapeless things, which appear to be planted on a vast exaggeration of the lazy tongs that used to bear the toy soldiers, and to be slowly coming close to my eyes, and receding to an immeasurable distance. When it comes closest, it is worse. In connection with it, I descry remembrances of winter nights incredibly long, of being sent early to bed as punishment for small offense, and waking in 2 hours with the sensation of having been asleep for 2 nights, of the laden hopelessness of morning ever dawning, and the oppression of a weight of remorse. And now I see a wonderful row of little lights rise smoothly out of the ground, before a vast green curtain. Now a bell rings, a magic bell, which still sounds in my ears unlike all other bells, and music plays amidst a buzz of voices, and a fragrant smell of orange peel and oil. Anon the magical bell commands the music to cease, and the great green curtain rolls itself up majestically, and the play begins. The devoted dog of Montargis avenges the death of his master. foully murdered in the forest of Bondi, and a humorous peasant with a red nose and a very little hat, whom I take from this hour forth to my bosom as a friend. I think he was a waiter or hostler at a village inn, but many years have passed since he and I have met. Remarks that the sagacity of that dog is indeed surprising, and evermore with this jocular conceit will live in my remembrance, fresh and unfading, overtopping all possible jokes on to the end of time. Or now I learn with bitter tears how poor Jane Shore, dressed all in white with her brown hair hanging down, went starving through the streets. Or how George Barnwell killed the worthiest uncle that ever man had, and was afterwards so sorry, so sorry for it that he ought to have been let off. Come swift to comfort me, the pantomime, stupendous phenomenon, when clowns are shot from loaded mortars into the great chandelier, bright constellation that it is, when harlequins covered all over with scales of pure gold twist and sparkle like amazing fish, when Pantaloon, whom I deem it no irreverence to compare in my own mind to my grandfather, puts red-hot pokers in his pocket and cries, "Here's somebody coming!" Or taxes the clown with petty larceny by saying, "Now, I sawed you do it," when everything is capable with the greatest ease of being changed into anything, and nothing is, but thinking makes it so. Now, too, I perceive my first experience of the dreary sensation. Oh, you should read there. Sorry.
No, it's correct. Now, too, I perceive my first experience of the dreary sensation, often to return in afterlife, of being unable the next day to get back to the dull, settled world, of wanting to live forever in the bright atmosphere I have quitted, of doting on a little fairy with the wand like a celestial barber's pole, and pining for a fairy immortality along with her. Ah, she comes back in many shapes as my eyes wander down the branches of my Christmas tree, and goes as often and has never yet stayed by me. Out of this delight springs the toy theater. There it is, with its familiar proscenium and ladies in feathers in the boxes, and all its attendant occupation with paste and glue and gum and watercolors in the getting up of the miller and his men, and Elizabeth or the exile of Siberia, in spite of a few besetting accidents and failures, particularly an unreasonable disposition of the respectful Kalmar, and some others who become faint in the legs and double up at exciting points of the drama. A teeming world of fancy so suggestive and all-embracing that far below it on my Christmas tree, I see dark, dirty real theaters in the daytime, adorned with these associations as with the freshest garlands of the rarest flowers, and charming me yet. But hark! The waits are playing, and they break my childish sleep. What images do I associate with Christmas music as I see them set forth on the Christmas tree? Known before all the others, keeping far apart from all the others. They gather round my little bed. An angel speaking to a group of shepherds in a field. Some travelers with eyes uplifted following a star. A baby in a manger. A child in a spacious temple talking with grave men. A solemn figure with a mild and beautiful face raising a dead girl by the hand. Again, near a city gate, calling back the son of a widow on his bier to life. A crowd of people looking through the open roof of a chamber where he sits, and letting down a sick person on a bed with ropes. The same, in a tempest, walking on the water to a ship. Again, on a seashore, teaching a great multitude. Again, with a child upon his knee and other children round. Again, restoring sight to the blind, speech to the dumb, hearing to the deaf, health to the sick, strength to the lame, knowledge to the ignorant. Again, dying upon a cross, watched by armed soldiers, a thick darkness coming on, the earth beginning to shake, and only one voice heard. Forgive them, for they know not what they do.
Still, on the lower branches and the lower modern branches of the tree, Christmas associations cluster thick. Schoolbooks shut out, over the proverbial silence. The Rule 3, with its cool inquiries, long disposed of tyrants and places, acted no more in an arena of huddled desks and forms, all chipped and notched and inked in. Cricket bats, stumps, and balls left higher up. With the smell of trodden grass and the softened noise of shouts in the evening air, the tree is still fresh, still gay. If I no more come home at Christmas time, there will be boys and girls, thank heaven, while the world lasts. And they do. Yonder they dance and play upon the branches of my tree. God bless them, merrily, and my heart dances in theirs too. And I do come home at Christmas. We all do, or we all should. We all come home, or ought to come home, for a short holiday. The longer, the better. From the great boarding school, where we are forever working at our arithmetical slings, to take and give a rest, as to going a visit, where we could not go if we were, where we had not been when we would, staring at our fancy from our Christmas tree. Ow. That was a good one. Away into the winter prospect, there are many such upon the tree. On by low-lying misty grounds, through fens and fogs, up long hills winding dark as caverns between thick plantations, almost shutting out the sparkling stars. So out on broad heights until we stop at last with sudden silence and an avenue. The gate bell was deep, half awful. The gate bell is deep, half awful sound in the frosty air. The gate swings open on its hinges, and we drive up to a great house. The glancing lights grow larger in the windows, and the opposing rows of trees seem to fall solemnly back on either side to give us place.
At intervals, all day, a frightened hare has shot across this whitened turf, or the distant clatter of a herd of deer trampling the hard frost has, for the minute, crushed the silence too. Their watchful eyes beneath the fern may be shining now, if we could see them, like the icy dewdrops on the leaves, but they are still, and all is still. And so, the lights growing larger and the trees falling back before us and closing up again behind us, as if to forbid retreat, we come to the house. There is probably a smell of roasted chestnuts and other good, comfortable things all the time, for we are telling winter stories, ghost stories, or more shame for us, round the Christmas fire, and we have never stirred except to draw a little nearer to it. But no matter for that, we came to the house, and it is an old house, full of great chimneys where wood is burnt on ancient dogs upon the hearth, and grim portraits, some of them with grim legends too, lower distrustfully from the oaken panels of the walls. We are a middle-aged nobleman, and we make a generous supper with our host and hostess and their guests, it being Christmas time, and the old house full of company. And then we go to bed. Our room is a very old room. It is hung with tapestry. We don't like the portraits of a cavalier in green over the fireplace. There are great black beams in the ceiling, and there's a great black bedstead supported at the foot by two great black figures, who seem to have come off a couple of tombs in the old baronial church in the park, for our particular accommodation. But we are not a superstitious nobleman, and we don't mind. Well, we dismiss our servant, lock the door, and sit before the fire in our dressing gown, musing about a great many things. At length we go to bed. Well, we can't sleep. We toss and tumble and can't sleep. The embers on the hearth burn fitfully and make the room look ghostly. We can't help peeping out over the counterpane at the two black figurines in the cavalier, that wicked-looking cavalier in green. In the flickering light, they seem to advance and retire, which, though we are not by any means a superstitious nobleman, is not agreeable. Go for it, hybrid.
Okay. Well, we get nervous, more and more nervous. We say, this is very foolish, but we can't stand this. We'll pretend to be ill and knock up somebody.
Huh?
Huh?
Oh,
Oh, wait, I don't think it means it in that. Okay, okay.
No, it-
Probably
Knock up
not.
is in-
Huh?
Okay. Well, we are just going to do it when the locked doors open and there comes in a young woman, deadly pale and with long fair hair, who glides to the fire and sits down in the chair we have left there, wringing her hands. Then we notice that her clothes are wet. Our tongue cleaves to the roof of our mouth, and we can't speak. But we observe her accurately. Her clothes are wet. Her long hair is dabbled with moist mud. She is dressed in the fashion of 200 years ago, and she has at her girdle a bunch of rusty keys. Well, there she sits, and we can't even faint. We are in such a state about it. Presently, she gets up and tries all the locks in the room with the rusty keys, which won't fit one of them. Then, she fixes her eyes on the portrait of the cavalier in green, and says in a low, terrible voice, "The stags know it." After that, she wrings her hands again, passes the bedside, and goes out at the door. We hurry on our dressing gowns, seize our pistols, we always travel with pistols, and are following, when we find the door locked. We turn the key, look out into the dark gallery, no one there. We wander away and try to find our servant, can't be done. We pace the gallery till daybreak, then return to our deserted room, fall asleep, and are awakened by our servant, nothing ever haunts him, and the shining sun. Well, we make a wretched breakfast, and all the companies say we look queer. After breakfast, we go over the house with our host, and then we take him to the portrait of the cavalier in green, and then it all comes out. He was false to a young housekeeper once attached to that family, and famous for her beauty, who drowned herself in a pond, and whose body was discovered after a long time because the stags refused to drink of the water. Since which, it has been whispered that she traverses the house at midnight, but goes especially to that room where the cavalier in green was wont to sleep. Trying the old locks with the What's up?
You good?
Okay, we're back.
Okay.
What happened?
My stream crash.
Oh, okay. Where was I? Okay.
Rusty keys.
Trying the old locks with the rusty keys. Well, we tell our host of what we have seen, and a shade comes over his features, as he begs it may be hushed up. And so it is. But it's all true, and we said so before we died. We are dead now. Too many Sorry. That caught me. It was just so matter of fact. Before we died, we are dead now to many responsible people.
Hey, this is a doozy of a story. We are dead now. Well, apparently my stream took that to heart. Fun fact, sorry about that. Who knows what happens?
And on we continue with The Christmas Tree by Charles Dickens.
There is no end to the old houses with resounding galleries and dismal state bedchambers, and haunted wings shut for many years, through which we may ramble, with an agreeable creeping up on our and encounter any number of ghosts, but it's worthy of remark perhaps, reducible to very few general types and classes, for ghosts have little originality, and walk in a beaten track. Thus it comes to pass that a certain room in a certain old hall where a certain bad lord, baronet, knight, or gentleman shot himself, has a certain plank in the floor from which the blood will not be taken out. If you want to see us, play video games and battle those ghosts, donate now. Record. You may scrape and scrape, as the present owner has done, or plane and plane, as his father did, or scrub and scrub as his grandfather did, or burn and burn, strong acids as his great-grandfather did. But there the blood will still be, no redder and no paler. No more, no less, always just the same. Thus, in such another house, there is a haunted door that never will keep open, or another door that never will keep shut, or the haunted sound of a spinning wheel, or a hammer, or a footstep, or a crying or sigh, or a horse's tramp, or the rattling of chains, or else it's a turret clock, which at midnight hour strikes 13. The head of the family is going to die, or a shadowy, immovable black carriage, which at such a time is always seen by somebody waiting near the great gates in the stable yard. Or thus it came to pass how Lady Mary went to pay a visit to a large wild house in the Scottish Highlands, and being fatigued with her long journey, retired to bed early and it only said the next morning at the breakfast table, "How odd to have so late a party last night in this remote place, and did not tell me of it. I went to bed." And then everyone asked Lady Mary what she meant. Then Lady Mary replied, "Why, all night long, carriages were driving around the terrace underneath my window." Then the owner of the house turned pale, and so did his lady, Charles MacDoodle of MacDoodle. The Lady Mary, to say no more. And everyone was silent. After breakfast, Charles MacDoodle of MacDoodle told Lady Mary that it was tradition in the family that those rumbling carriages on the terrace betokened death. And so it was proved, for 2 months afterwards, the lady of the mansion died. Lady Mary, who was a maid of honor at court, often told this story to the old Queen Charlotte. By this token, that the old king always said, what? Gosh, no such thing, damn it. And never left off saying so until he went to bed.
Or a friend of somebody's whom most of us know, when he was a young man at college, had a particular feeling with whom he made the compact that if it were possible for the spirit to return to this earth after its separation from the body, he, of the twain who first died, should reappear to the other. In course of time, this compact was forgotten by our friend. The two young men having progressed in life and taken diverging paths that were wide asunder. But one night, many years afterwards, our friend, being in the north of England and staying for the night in an inn on the Yorkshire moors, happened to look out of bed, and then, there, in the moonlight, leaning on a bureau near the window, steadfastly regarding him, saw his old college friend. The appearance being solemnly addressed, replied in a kind of whisper, but very audibly, "Do not come near me. I am dead. I am here to redeem my promise. I come from another world, but may not disclose its secrets." Then the whole form, becoming paler, melted, as it were, into the moonlight and faded away. Or there was the daughter of the first occupier of the picturesque Elizabethan house, so famous in our neighborhood. You have heard about her? No? Why, she went out one summer evening at twilight, when she was a beautiful girl, just 17 years of age, to gather flowers in the garden, and presently came running, terrified, into the hall to her father, saying, "Oh, dear father, I have met myself." He took her in his arms and told her it was fancy, but she said, "Oh no, I met myself in the broad walk." and I was pale and gathering withered flowers, and I turned my head and held them up, and that night she died, and a picture of her story was begun, though never finished, and they say it is somewhere in the house to this day, with its face to the wall.
Or the uncle of my brother's wife was riding home on horseback one mellow evening at sunset, when, in a green lane close to his own house, he saw a man standing before him, in the very center of a narrow way. Why does that man in the cloak stand there? He thought. Does he want me to ride over him? But the figure never moved. He felt a strange sensation at seeing it so still, but slackened his trot and rode forward. When he was so close to it as almost to touch it with his stirrup, his horse shied, and the figure glided up the bank in a curious, unearthly manner, backward and without seeming to use its feet, and was gone. The uncle of my brother's wife exclaiming, "Good heaven, it's my cousin Harry from Bombay!" put spurs to his horse, which was suddenly in a profuse sweat, and wondering at such strange behavior, dashed round to the front of his house. There he saw the same figure just passing in and out the long French window of the drawing room, opening on the ground. He threw his bridle to his servant and hastened in after it. His sister was sitting there alone. "Alice, where's my cousin Harry?" "Your cousin Harry, John?" "Yes, from Bombay. I met him in the lane just now and saw him enter here this instant." Not a creature had been seen by anyone, and in that hour and minute, as it afterwards appeared, his cousin died in India. Or it was a certain sensible old maiden lady who died at 99 and retained her faculties to the last, who really did see the orphan boy, a story which has often been incorrectly told, but of which the real truth is this, because it is in fact a story belonging to our family, and she was a connection of our family. When she was about 40 years of age and still an uncommonly fine woman, her lover died young, which was the reason why she never married, though she had many offers. She went to stay at a place in Kent, which her brother, an Indian merchant, had newly bought. There was a story that this place had once been held in trust by the guardian of a young boy, who was himself the next heir, and who killed the young boy by harsh and cruel treatment. She knew nothing of that. It has been said that there was a cage in her bedroom in which the guardian used to put the boy. There was no such thing. There was only a closet.
She went to bed, made no alarm whatever for in the night, and in the morning said composedly to her maid when she came in, "Who is the pretty forlorn-looking child who has been peeping out of that closet all night?" The maid replied by giving a loud scream and incessantly decamping. She was surprised, but she was a woman of remarkable strength of mind. She dressed herself and went downstairs and closeted herself with her brother. "Now, Walter," she said, "I have been disturbed all night by a pretty forlorn-looking boy, who has been constantly peeping out of the closet in my room, which I can't open. Is there some trick?" "I am afraid not, Charlotte," he said, for it is the legend of the house. It is the orphan boy." "What did he do?" "He opened the door softly," she said, "and peeped out. Sometimes he came a step or two into the room. Then I called him to encourage him, and he shrunk, shuddered, crept in again, and shut the door." "The closet has no communication, Charlotte," said her brother, "with any other part of the house, and it is nailed up." This was undeniably true, and it took 2 carpenters a whole forenoon to get it open for examination. Then she was satisfied that she had seen the orphan boy. But the wild and terrible part of the story is that he was also seen by 3 of her brother's sons in succession, who all died young. On the occasion of each child being taken ill, he came home in heat 12 hours before and said, "Oh, Mama." He had been playing under a particular oak tree in a certain meadow with a strange boy, a pretty forlorn-looking boy, who was very timid and made signs. From fatal experience, the parents came to know that this was the orphan boy, and that the course of that child whom he chose for little playmate was sullied. was surely run. Legion is the name of the German castle, where we sit alone and wait for the spectre, where we are shown into a room made comparatively cheerful for our reception, where we glance around the shadows thrown on the blank walls by crackling fire, where we feel very lonely when the village innkeeper and his pretty daughter have retired. After laying down a fresh store of wood upon the hearth and setting forth a small table of such supper cheer as cold roast cattle, bread, grapes, and a flask of Rhine wine, where the reverberating doors close on their retreat, one after another, so many peals of sullen thunder, and whereabouts the small hours of the night we come into the knowledge of dry supernatural mysteries.
Legion is the name of the haunted German student in whose society we draw yet nearer to the fire, while the schoolboy in the corner opens his eyes wide and round and flies off the footstool he has chosen for his seat, when the door accidentally blows open. Vast is the crop of such fruit shining on our Christmas tree, in blossom almost at the very top, ripening all down the boughs. Among the later toys and fancies hanging there, as idle often and less pure, be the images once associated with the sweet old waits, the softened music in the night, even ever unalterable, encircled by the social thoughts of Christmas time. Still let the benignant figure of my childhood stand unchanged. In every cheerful image and suggestion that the season brings, may the bright star that rested above the poor roof be the star of all the Christian world. A moment's pause, O vanishing tree, of which the lower boughs are dark to me as yet, and let me look once more. I know there are blank spaces on thy branches, where eyes that I have loved have shone and smiled, from which they are departed. But far above I see the razor of the dead girl and the widow's son, and God is good, if age be hiding from me in the unseen portion of thy downward growth. Oh, may I, with a grey head, turn a child's heart to that figure yet, and a child's trustfulness and confidence. Now the tree is decorated with the bright merriment and song and dance and cheerfulness, and they are all welcome, innocent and welcome be they ever held beneath the branches of the Christmas tree, which casts no gloomy shadow, but as it sinks into the ground, I hear a whisper going through the leaves. This is the commemoration of the law of love and kindness, mercy and compassion. This in remembrance of me.
Okay, I vote we never do another Charles Dickens.
Yeah, no, I'm good with that. So there was a lot of stuff in there that I had to do double takes and be confused, but I think my favorite one was Sassagacity.
Which means audacity with attitude.
Ooh.
And was coined by Dickens. Only by Dickens. It was his word.
Probably never used by anyone else, but I'm gonna start using it.
Oh my god.
What do men bring to the table? The sassagacity.
I gotta tell you, with a story that is written that is called A Christmas Tree, and then uses like 14 pages to talk about death.
Good God, I don't read stories clearly, because I had no fucking idea.
I don't know.
Holy shit.
I don't know if you guys had the same perspective as I did on this story, though. I think this was told from the perspective of a child who has a very active imagination and is utterly entranced by the things on the Christmas tree.
Sure, I'll go with it. All I saw was, like, again, more of the fact that Charles Dickens likes to, like, fill paragraphs and pages with long, unending sentences.
That too.
Themselves within the sentence.
twice,
doesn't
maybe
understand
even 3
doesn't
times.
understand punctuation
Anyway, kitchen.
or
I'm good.
uppercasing or anything like that. Like
Yeah,
holy
that was a lot. And there's like
Yeah.
there's such weird stuff in there, like oh my god, like that entire first page being a single sentence. Yeah.
Or the fact that, like, you know, here I am reading my one page, and next thing you know, I'm reading an entire paragraph into another page because it's still going for the sentence.
And can we talk about the fact that there were references to A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens throughout this?
He's like, if you like this book, you should check out.
So when I saw that, I was like, okay, wait a minute. Maybe this came out first, and it's an idea he had floating around, and he decided to expand upon it. No, this came out 7 years after.
Ah. So he cashed in.
1843 for Christmas Carol, 1850 for this.
So he decided to cash in on his cash cow that he haphazardly threw together to make a buck.
Are you
Facts.
trying to write like or talk like Dickens wrote for this? See,
I mean,
after the success of A Christmas Carol, Dickens took to drinking, and this was the result. No,
I mean, my goodness.
but in all
I can't
seriousness,
tell you if that was a good story or not. It was just. Yeah,
It was a lot. I mean, it was interesting for sure. I think we read the entire plot of The Haunting of Bly Manor.
Oh.
It wasn't Dickens' best work. I think he did his best work in other
Probably, yeah.
stories.
Yeah, that was the thing we read.
But that was our Christmas stories.
That was our Christmas story time.
That was
Happy
nice.
Christmas to all, and to all, I don't fucking want to read that again.
But we should tell
Yeah.
people the wonderful reason why we read Christmas stories tonight.
It's because we hit our first milestone, which was to read Christmas stories and have a Christmas story time.
Yes, and I.
Oh my god, my head from reading that.
I know. I am hurting.
Our Christmas milestones. I think we did. I think it was pretty. I mean, you know, my stream crashed in the middle. My stream hated that story. My stream was like, "Fuck you, shit."
I still like I guess my favorite part of that story is the like, when I die, I am dead right now.
I am dead.
Like, as I tell you this story, this happens to have been written by a ghost.
I told many people before I died, for I am dead. What? Excuse you?
For I am dead now.
This just started out as a guy looking at a Christmas tree in like the town center and then going, wow, that was pretty. Remember when I was a kid and it was fucked up?
Yeah. By the way, I told all of you this as a dead person.
And
As
the
a
farther, the farther you get into it, the less and less fucking sense it makes.
Yeah, no, seriously. That was the thing.
But in all seriousness, because I had to restart my stream in the middle of that, I am out of snoozes for my ad break. So in about 30 seconds, I'm going to cut into an ad break. And in the
Yeah, I actually
also
snoozed a couple myself because of how long that was taking. I was like, ooh, I gotta snooze a little bit in order to get through this.
But I am also going to take a moment's break. And then, do we want to play a game?
Yeah, sure.
Alright, we'll figure that out in a second. I will be back shortly.
Sure. Yeah, you know what? I think, yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna hop out of here, but you guys have fun with your games.
Alright.
Alright.
Take
Have
it
a
easy.
great night, Columbus.
You
Have a
too.
Good night.
Yes.
Uh,
Okay.
I will be right back.
All right. Bye. All right, guys. Well, take us through on that. I think that was pretty fun, and you know, it was for a good cause. It was one of our promised incentives for the fundraiser. So let's see, that was one of the ones that we promised with some £100 donations. So that was that. At some point, you know, we are already at the point where we're ready to do the Monster Prom voiceover stream because we've already got the $400 or £400 donated for that, so that's exciting. We are really close to doing a horror stream, which is going to be really fun. Let me see if I can. Here, let me show you this. Okay, so we're ready for the £400 Monster Prom voiceover stream, which is going to be really funny, I think. If you've ever seen that game, you know it's pretty great. I've streamed it myself, so some of you have definitely seen it. Once we hit the £500 mark, we're going to be doing a horror stream, and we have a game that we think most of you haven't seen for that one that we're all going to play together. And then we get to £600, cursed food. So, you know, deviled eggs boiled in monster and things like that. Some crazy stuff. £700 is a makeup stream. We'll all be wearing makeup. I don't know if we're doing it live or if we're going to just have it on for the stream. Whatever, we're a bunch of crazy kids. Some of us are flesh tubers. £800 is the ice bucket challenge, which I will not be doing personally, but that's just because I don't want to short circuit, right? £900, 10s unit test, period cramp simulator. I want you guys to get us to £900, but I don't want to do that. But I will be doing that if we get to £900. And then the very last part of this is going to be a movie night with you all. £1,000, which is our final goal. We'll do a Discord movie night where we're going to watch The Sacrifice, which is actually starring our own hybrid spider. And in that, it's basically about a movie about a gay guy that moves to a very conservative, religious-seeming town, which turns out to be run by Satan. So that should be interesting. And then we'll do a little Q&A after that. So we got a lot coming up, guys. It's going to be really fun. And I want you to hang out, participate with us, and have a good time. But for tonight, for me, I am out. We're going to go ahead and just do a quick little raid. If you guys would like to keep the Jingle Jamboree going on, we're going to raid Free the Squirrels. Go say what's up. Go give them a follow. That helps us all out a lot. For real, for real. So, thank you guys again for being here. Have an excellent evening. And remember to jam your jingles. It's going to take like 10 seconds before the raid will start. 4, 3, 2, 1.